There are other apps for doing OSC that you can do from virtual devices. And because we're using the iPad as a controller for our virtual camera, I thought we'd extend the iPad to do other things as well. The one that's been around for the longest time is called Touch OSC. Has anyone used Touch OSC in here before? Okay, so Touch OSC is a Android and iOS app. There's two versions. We're going to use the older version because it's easier to use for starting, and it's also cheaper. So this was $4 yesterday, and today it's already not $7. But Cyber Monday, whatever. So Touch OSC is a way of turning our iPads into configurable controllers for doing stuff. Because you can only do so much with the interface of Macs. Sometimes you need to use fingers to do things, and it helps to have them on iPads or on controllers, right? It's a lot more fidelity if you're making a light get brighter with your finger versus using a mouse click or a toggle or whatever. So Touch OSC, it's installed on this iPad. I have it on my account. Um, so it could be on this iPad if you want to play around with it, or just buy it. I use it all the time. I bought it in 2012, and I still use it to this day. It's totally worth $5. And I put a link for it in the syllabus. And it has an editor called Touch OSC Editor, which you can download. All right, and I'm going to show you how to use it really quickly and put it on there so you can have your own custom stuff. Right, and then I think everyone, as we're doing our max patches, throw them into the imports folder, and that way the max patches, because they're really small files, can be all connected to each other. Just put your name on them so we know whose they are, and that way we can start combining them together. Because ultimately we're going to have to make this into one big max patch, and that could be maybe if somebody who only has two tasks wants to be in charge of the show control max patch, that could be something that you can elect to do. Um, and so I'm gonna edit the one that I have in here already, and I'll show you how to connect it with TouchOSC. When you download it, the old version, which is TouchOSC MK1, you unzip the editor. I did it in my documents, and it comes with a few layouts that are already here. So if I show you my iPad, I have TouchOSC docked, and then here's something really quickly I made in like 2 seconds, right? So I have a bang, I have a toggle, and I have a slider. Super easy, the quickest iOS app you've ever made, right? So let's go ahead but there's a bunch of them on here, right? So I can say this is for Ableton Live, right? And it has all the different buttons and for the tracks and stuff, or uh, for playing beats, right? So you can use some of these things that are already here, but we might as well make a custom one for it. So um, I'm going to use the TouchOSC editor real quick, and we'll make something from scratch. So I'm just going to open it up, and then we should first of all save this project somewhere. I'm going to save it in that TouchOSC editor and layouts, and I'll call this one VPD in class. And then let's take a look at this layout. Very simple software. I'm using it for an iPad, so use an iPad layout. Um, and then we have multiple pages. You can have pages upon pages of different interfaces if you want to. Every person can have their own page. I'm just going to do a simple one and make it page one. And then you just right click and you say, what do you want in here? Well, we have push buttons, right? So this is just a little push button. And then super simple, you don't even have an RGB like color bar. You just have 8 predefined colors. All right, so that's a push button. Here's a toggle. What color is this one? Doesn't matter to me. Gray. And then let's get a rotary encoder. All right, so we have one of these suckers in here. And then maybe we'll do a fader, right, which is one of these suckers. Make it look however you want. You can organize them. You can say center these horizontally, center these horizontally, center these vertically, whatever you want to organize it. You can add in uh, just a text, right? You can add in the label which says Todd's awesome project. And if you really want to get if you really want to get funky, you can always add in the battery, and this will show you how much power you have left in your iPad, and it's right there on top of the screen. Whatever. So I now have this. I have it saved, and I want to sync it to the iPad. I hold up sync. Oh, well, I'm not ready yet. I need to send OSC. What is it sending? So if you select them all, you see right now it's automatically sending it on these channels. So it prepins what page you're on and what it's called. I'm going to override these and just make it really simple and just call this Bob, Bill, Molly, and Jane. Cool, and it's sending a value from 0 to 1, and that's fine. So I'll now save, and we have this in my downloads. I'm going to see if I can sync it. I have my VPN on, right? So I'm on virtual production online. Come over to, if you're at home, this is much easier. And then here's my iPad right here. I'm going to make sure that I have my VPN on here. Yes, I do. So TouchOSC, what layout do I want? I want to add a new one. And right now I'm looking on this computer, which is 192.168.194.61, say blah, blah. And it says downloading. And now at the very end of the thing, it says VP in class. That's how easy it is to upload. I'm also connected via USB. Who know if that makes it easier or not. If you have problems with this on a PC, there is a way of doing this with, you guessed it, guys, you can still download iTunes. If you download iTunes, you can come over here to File Sharing, choose the app TouchOSC, and then you can add the file manually by finding it and opening it, and that'll also just manually, so you don't have to worry about the Wi-Fi whatsoever. It's just being uploaded through iTunes, which is still free to install and use on your PC if you want to. So now I can go back to my iPad settings, and then OSC, I need to make sure that I know where I'm sending it. I'm sending it to this computer, right? So that's .61. And then I want to use a new port. Unreal's looking at port 8000. I want to send a port 8001 to keep this separated out. I could send directly to Unreal, but I'm going to send to Max right now because visually it's easier for you to see a Max in between. You can also send back to TouchOSC. You might want to know how long your sequence is, and you send it to a horizontal fader, and it will go. And as your sequence goes along, you're sending OSC to make it progress. Right, so you can send things and make your OSC TouchOSC interface also interact with what's happening in your project. So this is all done, and then say done, and I now have. Oops, I gotta choose it. Layout in class, done, and there's the horrible thing I just made. Right? I no longer need editor. Stop sync. Close out. And then if I come over here to Max, I have the show control thing. I'll update this. So now instead of just sending it, I am going to unlock it and receive it. So new UDP receive. It doesn't, I don't care what IP address it comes from, but I do need to specify what port, and we're looking at 8001. Cool. I'm going to make myself a little bit more real estate. I can use a message for looking in here, and then let's see if it receives it. UDP receive 8001. It's not sending it, so let me Make sure I'm doing it right. I just tested a second ago, so it should work. I might have done a mistake. Yes, it is dot 194.61. Done, done. And now you see with zero latency, I'm getting things from my iPad. The OSC is quicker than the screen share. So before you actually see it on the screen share, I'm actually getting it on my Max patch. Cool. And you could change the settings. You could say that the slider starts in the middle, that the rotary encoder starts in the beginning. I only want to see when I hit on, I only want the one. I don't want the zero, right? So you can make these changes for your OSC, and now it's all coming through. When you have all these different addresses, you need to use the route object. Route object by default has, if it matches no input, and if it doesn't match anything. Watch as I add new addresses to route. So I can add in Bob. The route object changes. It says if it matches Bob. We had what? Bill, Molly, and Jane. And now it has an outlet for each of these. So I can come from my Touch OSC, and then I can see only when it's Bob, only when it's Bill, only when it's Molly. There we go, and only when it's Jane. So now we're getting just the numbers we want, right? We can do whatever we want to. We can then send that on a different channel, or if you really want to, you could just keep it as is and just say, I'm happy with receiving it. Just send it straight in and keep the addresses there. I don't need to route it out. I don't need to do anything with the numbers, right? So now I'm effectively creating a bridge that then goes directly to Unreal. Again, it seems unnecessary, but this is important for teaching to understand where things are going, to visualize the whole process, right? So this would all connect to the Unreal projects as we've been doing. I also have here a MIDI controller, and these are USB connected, and they can be done very easily now in Macs. So again, these are like rotary encoders, right? These are like little knobs. We have those objects here in different formats, right? So here is a rotary one. There's one. Let's see if we can find another one. Sliders. Here's another one. This is a dial. This one you can actually make bigger. And it's super simple, just like Ableton, because Ableton bought this company Max, and so they're to make it just like the same. I could say go here for assigning a MIDI map. I click it, enable it for mapping, and then I twist it. When I take it off, you really can't see it yet. Let's add a message to it. That one didn't want to map. Let's go to the other one I tried before earlier. Let's do this live dial. When I enable it for mapping, that's for MIDI mapping. I can now just twist. You're not plugged in. There we go. I got to plug everything in. Hey, I figured it out pretty quickly. Imagine if I wasted like 2 days on that. All right, cool. It's all lit up, ready to go. So let's go back to the other one. Actually, I can just go ahead and do this one. So now the dial's connected. Enable MIDI mapping. This one. There we go. Now it works. So just by dragging it, it now knows how to manipulate it. MIDI by default goes to from 0 to 127. Let's do the other one just so I can redeem myself. So this one now is enabled for MIDI. And then I can do the one next to it. There we go. So some of these have like tons of sliders. They're great for using as a lighting board. If you're doing a light show for an ice capades, you can have a bunch of these. You could be changing all the lights in real time, and it's all being recorded in sequencer. But this one as well, this one's value is to 127. So it's really important to understand how to map your values, and the that's just called scale. So you'd say new scale, but what's in low and high. So we're getting the value from 0 to 127, but I want it to control a light, let's say, and that should really be from 500 to 10,000. So now when you drag it out, the scale goes, let's see, 127. Why is it going 0 to 1? That's crazy. 0, input low, 0, 127, 500, 10,000. There we go. So now we're having a number that goes from 500 to 10,000 on this dial. Cool. What's also fun about all this stuff is, might as well add this in. We can also add in a easy analog to digital converter. What is that? That's a microphone. There's an object, this is kind of random, you just have to know it. It's called peak amp. It's looking at the peak amplitude of the signal. It's converting an audio signal to a number. We're going to look at it at 33 mils every 33 milliseconds, so basically 30 frames per second. And then when I turn this on, we can get a value based off my voice. This might be hard to see, so let's take a new object called multi-slider, and we're going to turn it, and we're going to look at the properties, and I want to make it a line scroll, or line scroll is good for me, and I want the range to be, it looks like how, looks like from 0 to 1, from 0 to 1, put it in here, and now we have a line scroll, and you can see my voice, right? So now things can be audio reactive coming from here if you have like the voice of God or whatever. Usually when you're doing VJing again, you want to know about the onset of things. You want to know what hits, but you don't want to fade away. Don't want it to go away immediately. You want it to fade away, right? Immediate detection with a little bit of a fade, right? So that's a smoothing function. In Max it's called slide. So slide is telling how quick do you want it to slide up and how slow you want it to slide down immediately. So on 1 millisecond or millisecond, go up, and then trail off for 20 milliseconds. All right, so I can now replug this in here. And now when I do beats, it trails off, right? So you can then watch the things fade back out, but it hits immediately, right? If you like drum set, you might want to do some EQing. You might want to only get things from the snare, only get things from different things. But right now, I'll just be doing general onset detection. This is one thing. This is converting it to an analog signal. There's also an object called F0 that just gives you beat detection. I think that can we go do this? Yes. So F0 just lets me know, not very well, apparently. It's this beat detection, right? So it's just giving me a beat every time it detects something going up. So you can have two different ways of looking at audio. It's just it triggers something, go, or you can have it looking at actual values. Um, so from here, it's giving from 0 to 1. We want to say new scale from 0 to 1, and then go up to, again, 500 to 10,000 if it's a light, and then send it to UEP. and then it should go. I'm going to save this real quick, lock it up, and then let's open up the Unreal project. And then I'm going to show you how to record this in sequencer. And basically, everyone needs to uh, test their thing to make sure they can record in sequencer because that's what we're putting it in the first place. So I have my Todd map. I'm going to go hang out in. So levels, LVL Todd. Eyes are not working anymore. There we go. And then I have this BP light, right? Um, my max patch is kind of shortchanged. I need to make sure that this is sending on a channel. So I'm going to make a new pre-pinned Todd Glow, right? Now it's being sent out on Todd Glow. And then I have Todd Light 2. What are you, the color? All right, your color. And you were just being turned off and on, right? Cool. We're going to say, we have intensity. So let me just change that in the max patch to make it simpler. What was Todd intensity? This was Todd intensity, right? So you have the same exact thing. Let's just delete. There we go. No sense in reinventing the wheel. Cool. So that should make this intensity go. Let's go ahead and see what I have in my blueprint for where I'm receiving it. We have the parent. It's receiving it on another computer. I'm going to change this for this 6.1. So I'm doing it local. And then Max is also sending local 6.1. There you go. Because I was doing this on another computer last week, which I no longer have. So let's see. I'm going to change my game mode real quick to game mode so I get rid of the avatar that was showing up. And let's debug. All right, so Todd Light is receiving values, and it seems like it's receiving the right values. So that's good news. I just don't see the change. Where is... There it is. Todd. No? Todd. Maybe turn it on first because it was a toggle. So go back over here, toggle it on. What did we do it on? We did it on bang. Now are you on? Make this a little easier on herself and turn it on to begin with. This light is turned on. Begin with. You're getting the values. Set intensity. Let's go into our persistent map. Sure. Levels. And we're going to go to sample level. My stuff is up here. think I can't remember anymore. Todd. Only show me things in mine. Yes, that's my cone. That's my cube. Great. So let's hit play here. World settings. Let's make it game mode. Hit play. And can I see it? Oops. That's working. That's good. Are you on? Are you on? Yeah. 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 Cool. So I'm no longer seeing the debug of it. Child light. All right, now I see the debugging of it, and the values are changing, right? We can watch it, and now we can see it that I'm, hey, there we go. Cool. And again, to emphasize, what's fun is that this stuff can be done in real time. Should get really bright. Are you there? Okay. I can see a little bit of reactivity. I don't even know where that is in my map. Let's escape. Twilight is right there. Let's watch it now from here. Okay. Okay. Great. We're seeing it work. I think it's a lumen thing, right? But it works. Great. So let's record this. Let's go over to our tape recorder. And this will be the last thing we do today is the um, tape recorder. And in this scene, we want to record Todd. All right. And let's just go for it. Record, record. There we go. It has visibility, but it also has intensity somewhere. Right. Intensity should be right here, but it says it's 5,000. So it looks like it is not moving. If we go back to review it, right, last recording, it got the point light, but it didn't do anything with intensity. Let's go back. And then if we open up the blueprint, sometimes you have to promote it to a value first. You have to make it a variable, and then you can record it. You can record the variable. So there's the stuff you have to test before it's ready to go. This is going to be put my name on it, Todd value, compile, and then I'm going to say expose to cinematics, and it should be available to be recorded to in sequencer. So now we select here. We can see that we're looking at. We are trying to record the intensity track, so maybe it's going to be here twice. We'll see. Testing. 1 second. I also have to be hitting the play button. That helps out. Let's try that. Okay, so now we're hitting the play button and we hit record. So we're getting values in here. We're watching these values change. Can these values be contributed? Let's see. Let's hit stop and review the previous take. And there we do see that intensity is scrubbed, right? See, it's all recorded. That's what we want to make sure these things are recorded. I think that I wasn't hitting play beforehand. I might be able to not have this for right now, just to make things simplified. But sometimes if you're having problems finding things in sequencer, you need to make it a value. but I think by default intensity is recorded. Let's do a fresh one. Hit play. Go back up to our thing. And hit record. Cool. Now I'm recording intensity. Great, 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 great. Hit stop and review the previous take. Yeah. So it recorded it, and now we have a take that we can play back and we can nest that into other things. Great. So let's do one last thing. I showed you that we're going to be using this in class next week, but we're going to look at an iPad real quick since I have that here. This is was broken for almost 2 years, and it works now. So all the documentation is here for how to do a virtual camera using iPad as a virtual camera. Um, there's the quick start. I also have uh, this tutorial. I think this tutorial is a little bit better for getting up and running. You need to make sure that and I'll go ahead and turn on the settings for if you want to test from home. You need to make sure you have a couple plugins turned on. First of all, virtual camera, a search for virtual camera. Virtual camera turned on. We, of course, have live link on. And then pixel streaming. Pixel streaming means it's going to send values from um, my screen to the iPad the same way that I'm sending it through the Airstream. Right, it's going to stream it there. So restart. Cool. And then I have the app for. I guess it closed already. Well, I'm not going to show you this app. It looks like that. I'm not going to worry about trying to double pixel stream. I'm just going to open up this app from it's a free one, LiveLink Vcam. Yay! And I'm going to plug in the uh, the right IP address for this computer, which is 6.1. Cool. Now that Unreal's open, I'll just open up a new map real quick. Yep.
Do you get rented with just putting in till 6.1 or do you have to put the subnet mask also?
No, just 192.168.194.61.
Before it did not go through without the subnet mask.
The subnet mask in this field.
Yeah.
You got to put what else in there?
Yeah. Had to put the slash part also.
Slash 24? I never done that before. So we can give we give it a shot. Whatever it's if that works for you, go for it. I'm just gonna do vcam test LVL. Actually, let me not do it this way. Let me do it. Let me delete that. New level, basic. So from here we can do vcam now. Actor. It's now over here. Obviously, you'd want to record it if you're doing take recorder, and then let's go back to our tutorial. So once you add the vcam in there, you need to make sure that it's enabled and then lock it to the camera. So vcam, if you go down to the vcam component, which is down here, make sure that it's enabled and that it's locked to viewport to the camera. Where's that? I don't see that on this one. That's fine. This is a newer version. And then you should be able to get a live link subject from your live link. So This is not what I want. I want to have OptiTrack source. Where is it? Why are we not showing OptiTrack? OptiTrack. Oh, interesting. That should definitely be on. That might be because we overwrote the U project file. So I have streaming from the other computer, an OptiTrack rigid body, and we'll put this all together next week when we're in the studio again. Cool. So now when I go to Live Link, I have OptiTrack Vcam coming in, and it's green. That was super easy. And then when I go over to my level that I just created, which was going to be Vcam, I have a virtual camera in here, and then I go to the Vcam component. I can choose there. And so this is the data coming in from OptiTrack down the hallway. Hit connect. Let's see if this works. So if I was moving around, I'd have the tracker on there redoing it, but I'm getting it from here because the data's already been pre-recorded. Does that make sense? The I would have a tracker on here normally, but because I'm not in the OptiTrack system, we went ahead and recorded or Costop recorded rigid body, and that would be my viewpoint in. So if Siri was wearing a mocap suit, I'd be looking in at her and seeing her as her avatar, as a window into the world. What's cool about this is that I have a bunch of features and I left the documentation on here where I can change what like my lens is and like I could say be a different millimeter lens, right? So I can zoom in and out and all this stuff is recorded to the sequencer, right? That's focused, so it's not going to be as apparent. So there's a whole interface here for recording the stuff to sequencer and then doing playback, Vcam actor, right? And be ready to go. This is a little bit more fun, but this one doesn't have those zoom features. But you don't always want the zoom features. You want to have something that's more robust, that has a better feel to it. So you can kind of alternate between the two however you want to. We already showed how to do this one. This one you just make a pawn camera and do a live link component. And this one you have to use a VCam preset. But this is all being recorded to sequencer, and you have an iPad, which is pretty cool. So you can have that handheld feel to it. Um, so to finish the documentation, just to make sure it's all in one place, yeah, you have all the settings. If you're not sure IP, we all know IPs by now, and then we all know where we're getting our information from. Cool. So these are in your syllabus to review and to understand, but it's a super cool. Again, it's only iOS enabled devices, but it can also be your phone. It doesn't have to be an iPad. iPad just gives you more real estate. What's also kind of cool about this is that if you want to have one person in charge of holding the camera, or let's see, this is all clickable or used to be clickable. That's not anymore. That's a shame. You used to be able to click it and change it. Therefore, you had one person on the computer moving around and the other person was doing this. Let's see. I bet you if I did, oh, I'm not even hitting play. I bet you if I did play, it would do that. I need to stop and do world settings. Make sure I put it in game mode. I'll do that globally. Globally, we'll do it in game mode. Cool. And now I hit play. A second. Now can I click? Yeah. So one person could actually be holding the iPad and controlling that, and the other person should be able to click. Although I did get quite an error right there. So we'll see. Let's try one more time. Ew, it doesn't like it at all. How about we not click on it? That seems to be. Oh, so right now it's actually using the data from ARKit tracking, right? But if we wanted to use OptiTrack, we need to make sure that our Vcam component is getting it from here. So that's the pre-recorded data from OptiTrack. Otherwise, by default, it uses ARKit, and you can just be relative to wherever you are. You want to be in your living room doing it. Cool. So just throwing in some more show control live things to get you prepped and ready. Cool. I'm gonna save this and commit it. So you have some of these other files in here, and I've already saved my max patch. So you have this complete utter net mess. If you want to see how to do audio reactivity, which can be fun again for your VJ sets, and I'll commit. Sorry, it was all a lot without a break today, but so much going on. And then I'm gonna stop